Some horrors are best to remain unseen. Some knowledge is best to remain unknown. Some tales of unspeakable terror are best to remain unheard of. As for the one who seeks the abominable truth, may find Gnags Kirfunk Thing Just hold on for a second here. I mean, how should I be able to pronounce this? I only have one tongue. I'm not doing this. Let's just start with the countdown. Hello again, fellow YouTubers, and welcome to my third Halloween countdown. It's that day of the year again, where we dress up as scary beings and eat pumpkin-flavored food. Yeah, Halloween sure is a strange holiday, but hey, so are the characters on this list. So odd, so out of this world, and utterly alien that you simply cannot grasp their true form. I will list the top 10 Eldritch abominations in video games. Now, before we start, I want to make some things clear. First off, please take note that this list represents my opinion and only mine. This isn't some universal truth or fact, it just reflects what I personally think. If you don't agree, or if you have something to add, then feel free to leave a constructive comment. What I want to make perfectly clear is the fact that this video is not about my personal top 10 scariest characters or top 10 creepiest characters, because I already made a video like that, so that would be kind of redundant. If you want to see that, then click on this annotation and have a watch. This video here, right here, I know this might be a bit confusing for some, but this is only about Eldritch abominations. And this is where the rules come into play. As some of you may know, we have to make up some rules in order to spice things up a bit. The rules are as following: only one character per franchise, no age rating limit, but horror games are not allowed for the sake of fairness, and the last and most obvious rule, it has to represent some form of Eldritch abomination. That means the character's design should stand out in relation to all the other game characters. It should look either really weird or alien, or just be a mess of body parts. The character should also either embody some form of cosmic horror, be linked to space, or literally be an alien, maybe even have an own creepy realm, and the character in question should be powerful. Also, warning, there will be spoilers since this list covers bosses and final bosses. You have been warned. So, let's not waste any time and dive right into the unspeakable horror. Enjoy. Pokemon is a franchise that gives you the choice to pick from over 700 battle-ready monsters. Some of them stand out because they're strong or cute, and then there's Giratina. Giratina always stood out for me like a sore thumb. Sure, there are other Pokemon such as Unknown that look really strange, but Giratina looks a bit off. Its design looks much more sinister than other dark or ghost types in my opinion. The first time I saw it, I even found it a little bit creepy, especially that it is a non-insect that has 6 legs. It looks out of place. Moreover, the more complicated design stands out because most Pokemon, from a design standpoint, have a more simple design going on with them. Well, granted, there are others such as Kyurem Black that also have more complex designs, but Giratina just has something uncanny about him, her. Wait, it's an it. If we dig a bit deeper into the lore of Giratina, one of the most powerful dragons in the entire game I might add, we find out that this legendary dragon is actually the Grim Reaper / Satan / Hades of this universe. It has its own weird Eldritch realm where the souls go after death called the Distortion World, and it has a creepy appearance in Pokemon Platinum. And you can still keep it in a ball. Makes sense. Speaking of the complexity of designs, the Final Fantasy franchise sure has a lot of characters that reside on the more complicated end of the spectrum. So it was really weird for me seeing Ozma for the first time. Ozma is a super boss that for some kind of reason looks like a giant jawbreaker candy of death. Apparently it had a real form or shape many years ago. Ozma also has some very powerful attacks, some of them being one-hit KOs, like Death and level 5 Death, and some of them being space-related, like Doomsday, Meteor and Flare Star. Flare Star? Is Ozma a variable red dwarf star in disguise? The world may never know. The Super Smash Bros. Franchise is not really a franchise in itself, but rather a mashup of several Nintendo and some third-party franchises, which made it successful in the first place. While incorporating bosses from known franchises, it also made up some entirely new and original ones, among them Master Core. Am I the only person who thinks that the Master Core is creepy? You can only fight it in classic mode if the intensity is set to 5.1 or higher. This disturbing boss is composed of some kind of black particle known as the Swarm, whatever that means, and it can use said swarm to change its shape. The Master Core's different forms are what makes it even weirder in my opinion. It has a beast form, a humanoid form, a sword form, and it can even be an entire level, complete with a beating heart. Ugh. While the definition of an Eldritch abomination may confuse some, nowhere does it state that it can't be an object. Meet Majora. Majora is the antagonist of The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. It sure is the most bizarre villain in the franchise. It's not really a person, it's an inanimate object, but somehow it has a consciousness, and a very wicked one at that. First off, the final battle against this mask shows how scary it truly can get. Like some other characters on this list, Majora has multiple forms. The last one is especially creepy because of the jittery movements and the blood-pumping legs. Ugh. During the story of the game, it even tries to summon an apocalypse by letting a moon with a hideous face collide with Termina. What a terrible fate. You shouldn't have done that, Majora. Look who shows up on my list! Again, the weird blob from Pikmin 3. Ah yes, the Plasm Wraith. 2 years later, you still creep me out, don't ya? The Plasm Wraith is by far the weirdest and creepiest character of the Pikmin franchise. This is partly because it reminds me of a famous horror movie monster, namely the Blob. Furthermore, in comparison to all the other Pikmin bosses, this one stands out for multiple reasons. First off, this slimy extraterrestrial is partly invincible. Moreover, it even emits creepy radio waves, and we have no idea why it does that. And it has some weird attachment to Olimar. But it gets even weirder than that. To quote from the Pikmin wiki, the Plasm Wraith's Japanese name is Amenyudo, which is a portmanteau of the word amoeba, ame, which is Japanese for rain, and Nyudo, which means priest. This name could also be an allusion to one Nyudo, which is the guardian of hell in Japanese mythology. Yeah. Hey, we're not done with Nintendo creepiness yet. Meet the Chaos Kin. The Chaos Kin is one of the darkest villains in Icarus Uprising. This thing is a parasite that feeds on the souls of its host, and it also controls their mind. Just like other Eldritch creatures, this monster loves to cause chaos. There really is no joking around with the Chaos Kin. Its idle description even says that its power rivals those of the gods themselves. It even has its own creepy Eldritch realm, the Chaos Vortex, just like Giratina does. The Chaos Kin is weird and it stands out for such an otherwise cheerful and comedic game. Now we're getting in the more, how shall I put it, body horror department. I'm just going to show you this. Perfect Dark Gaia still hasn't failed to amaze me with its creepiness. Obvious point out of the way, it looks hideous. It has 1,000 eyes and tongues surrounding these eyes and just, wow, look at this, it's a mess! And as if this wasn't enough, Perfect Dark Gaia is like an elder god, having existed since the beginning of time. It is the personification of Earth's dark power. And much like Cthulhu, it has awakened from a long slumber. Which begs the question, why do people keep waking up Eldritch abominations? That's never going to end well. The Kirby games are infamous for having some of the most standout and unfitting creepy final bosses for an overall cutesy franchise, but one of them is by far the scariest of them all. And that is the evil dark matter entity known as Zero. I think that a lot of people will agree with me on this. Zero, or its second form, Zero 2, are creepy. For starters, during the final battle in Kirby's Dream Land 3, it attacks Kirby by bleeding? What? At that time this was an E-rated game.
You know, for kids!
Everything else in this game looks like a child drew it with crayons, and then we get this? What happened? But the Bloodfest doesn't stop there. Its resurrected form, known as Zero 2, is the final boss of Kirby 64. This time, Zero came back as an unholy angel of despair, with one giant bleeding eye and a spiky vine for a tail. That's it, I got nothing. Speaking of holy, or rather unholy imagery, there's another godlike Eldritch abomination that creeps me out. The creepy doppelganger from the indie game Skullgirls, simply called Double. Alright, how could I describe Double to those who have not yet heard about her? Well, basically, she is like a Ditto from Pokemon, but 1,000,000 times more disgusting. The keyword being disgusting. In the Skullgirls universe, Double is a shape-shifting godlike entity with unclear origins that assists the Holy Trinity to destroy all of humanity. Yeah, lovely, isn't it? If you pick Double from the very colorful cast of characters, you notice that this one is on the more body horrorish side. I know that's not a word, but how else can you describe this mess? One level in the story mode is even inside of her. This level in question is by far one of the creepiest levels in video games. Yeah, she really is an abomination. I guess it's a she, I'm not even sure at this point. Do I really want to know though? Probably not. But there's still one character higher than double. A character of unspeakable madness. Let's do a quick recap before we get to that Eldritch number 1 character. Number 10, Giratina. Number 9, Ozma. Number 8, Master Core. Number 7, Majora. Number 6, Plasma Wraith. Number 5, Chaos Kin. Number 4, Perfect Dark Gaia. Number 3, 0 and 02. And number 2, Double. The character on this spot may be a bit of an obvious pick, but I stand by my opinion. In my book, this character comes as close to the definition of an Eldritch abomination as no other video game character from no horror games. You cannot grasp the true form of Gygas. Is this pick blatantly redundant? Well, maybe, yes, I can't deny it. But does Gygas deserve the number 1 spot? Of course. Let me explain why. First off, Gygas is not infamous without reason. He's an alien with supernatural, maybe even godlike powers that are on an astronomical level. In Earthbound, Gygas threatens to consume the entire universe and to curse it with eternal darkness. He influences people and animals alike to do things that they never would have done themselves, from the past. Which means that Gygas is a being that exists beyond the fabric of space and time. Gygas is so weird, so alien, so utterly out of this world that apparently no one can grasp his true form, just like all the other Eldritch abominations from Lovecraft's stories. He even is a trope namer for crying out loud. Gygas himself seems to be unable to grasp his own existence, which is evidenced by the fact that every word he says is just total gibberish. Gygas maybe even doesn't have a true form in the strictest sense, since he fills up the whole screen during battle. He doesn't even have an Eldritch realm. He is the Eldritch realm. An almighty idiot just like Azathoth. Gygas is my number 1 Eldritch abomination. My name is Jana and thank you for watching my video. If you want to see more content from me in the future, then please subscribe to me. And if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. And what I also wanted to say is that I still need some questions for my FAQ video, so don't forget about that. And I also made some Halloween related countdowns in the past, so be sure to check these out as well. And as always, thank you and see you next time. I don't need this.